what is the role of marketing? What kind of marketing considerations biotech startups should have?
Hmm.
And what special considerations, even someone in marketing that is looking at this new blossoming industry on the continent and who wants to get in on that from a service provider
Hmm.
point of view, what should they be considering?
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, I suppose, the majority of the work that we do is actually from the perspective of vendors and suppliers to the biotech and pharmaceutical space. So the
Mm-hmm.
majority of our companies are providing services to the drug development companies and drug sponsors. Having said that, I've had some experience working with biotech companies directly. And one of the interesting things about biotech companies is when they're in that kind of early virtual stage, it's a really fine balance, because if you have a stealth mode biotech company that doesn't really want people to know what they're doing,
Yeah.
you don't really need to market too much other than probably to an investor audience.
Mm-hmm.
And what I often see, especially when living in Boston, because I was surrounded by biotech companies, was
Mm-hmm.
terrible websites, for example, and terrible
I
profiles.
agree.
And
Some of them
and
don't
I
even
would
exist.
and I remember I worked in an office with a lady who was in a communal office area, and they were developing some amazing, I can't remember what the therapeutic area was, but this amazing technology. And I remember looking at their websites, and you are creating something that's innovative, groundbreaking, could impact a huge global population. And their website looked like something from the 90s. And I said to her, you realize when people go on your website, they're not going to associate you with cutting edge technology
Mm,
when your website looks so dated.
mm,
And it was funny to watch, kind of a penny dropping moment. So I think my advice certainly to biotech companies is, firstly, have some kind of presence. You don't have to give all the information away, but doesn't matter what, obviously you're in Africa, I'm in the UK. When any of us need to find out something, we probably all go, we do the same thing now. You'll go online,
yes,
irrespective of your choice of search engine. Let's say it's
yes.
Google, you will go looking for something. You will then start building an impression of
Mm,
an organization based on what you see and what you find. And you only get one shot to make that first impression, right?
mm,
So, Google talks about this philosophy, which is, be there, be meaningful, be quick, right? So if you think about that in terms of the biotech context, if someone is looking for, say it's an investor looking for that, a particular therapeutic or area that they are investing in, you want to make sure that you have a presence and that you look the part. And where that
mm,
becomes much more critical is when you're coming out of stealth mode and then you're in investor mode, because that's the point at which we often have heard from biotech companies. And bear in mind, these are not our normal clients, but it's like, oh my God, we need a website, we need to have a
yeah,
presence. But I feel like saying something, you should have started thinking about this 3 years ago. You shouldn't be thinking
yeah.
about this right now. And then it's like, it's all milestone driven, right? We need to get something very quickly. So certainly my advice would be, think about it beforehand and try and be proactive about having a really, really strong presence. And I think with any marketing, as I said before, really think about your audience, think about
Mm,
who you're trying to impact and who you're trying to be meaningful to, because you can spend your entire life trying to reach everyone and say, well, what I'm producing is relevant for everyone. Well, it probably isn't.
isn't.
So focus on the 20% of market that's actually going to make the impact. And typically for
Mm-hmm,
a biotech company, I'm guessing 95% of it's probably the investor, because
mm-hmm,
these are the people that are going to fund. And then there's arguably a 5%, regulatory patient population
mm-hmm,
as well.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
actually, what's going to drive the success of a biotech company is employees, of course, is important. The quality of employees, quality of technology, and actually have they got money in the bank to get to the next milestone. And
Yeah.
it just shows you how important, the pieces of the jigsaw are. And, these audiences are all younger now, right? That's the other thing. It's like
Yes. Yes.
your digital presence is so important now. So don't look like a dinosaur, because that's not going to do you any good whatsoever.